and lunch is me. So you don't need my background. Real quick, how many of you are with city government? All right, so y'all know MTAS. How many of you are with county government? You know MTAS. Anybody else? Public housing, public schools. All right, so public schools, and you probably, well, CTAS yeah. To a certain degree. And then the others, do y'all know about MTAS and CTAS? Great. So y'all know our background. So that takes care of part of the intro. I was with the Attorney General's office in Mississippi for several years before I moved to Knoxville to run the court clerks program. I see a couple familiar faces in here. I've probably seen you in your cities. You may have been in one of my classes over time. I am now the training manager at MTAS. We take care of all the training requirements for city governments that we're mandated to through the state and any extras that we hear city governments needing. Do I have any CMFOs in the room? I'm really surprised. I thought we might have a purchasing solar too that was a CMFO also. I was going to try to get you some credit. Well, thank you all for being here. Like I said, it's you, lunch, and me in the middle. So we're going to try to get through this pretty quickly. I'm usually good without a mic. If I'm not, y'all in the back, let me know. What I'm really bad at is just talking 90 miles an hour. Okay? If I need to slow down, throw something at me. It's okay. You got it? You ready? All right. I called it. That'll never happen again. So today, we're going to talk about customer service. How many of you deal with customers up front at all? All of you do. They're just not the customers you're thinking about. So let's talk about customer service, and I've tried to add as much humor into this as possible. Do I need to stay over there? Okay. Y'all, this is a live stream, and I forget about that sometimes. So let me get back over here to my home. This is hard for me because I talk with my feet. You know, some people talk with their hands. I move around. So I need to know my customer, which today is not only you all in the room, but those on the live stream. So thank you all. Let's start. Let's start with a little intro video on customer service.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're only boarding rows 9 and above right now. You'll have to wait.
I'm in row 8.
Please step aside, sir.
Just one row, don't you think it's okay?
We'll call your room momentarily.
How did the crescent rolls and you did the cranberry? You know I can't cook.
Hello. Okay, I'm just gonna hold real quick while I check the mail space. All right, thanks.
Step aside, sir.
Excuse me, I think you forgot my bread.
Bread, $2 extra.
$2? Everyone in front of me got free bread.
You want bread?
Yes, please.
$3. Nothing for you.
Could you tell me about some of the funds, please? Okay. See that one over there? That's a phone.
Yeah, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. Gobble, gobble. Oh, bye-bye.
This is real.
Thank you for waiting. We'd like to continue boarding the aircraft now. We have boarding all rows, please. All remaining rows. Hello. Enjoy your flight.
So, is that our idea of customer service? No. Is that what we experience regularly? Yes. Yeah, unfortunately it is. But that's not what we want to portray. We are all employed in the public sector. All right, if there's one or two of you that aren't, forgive me, but for the most part. So you are the public face, either internally or externally, for your division of government, right? You all mainly, you deal internally with people that are wanting you to buy something for the government, for them, for their department. And then externally, you work with the providers, right? Whoever's selling the fire trucks, the benches for the parks, whatever it may be, because I know it runs the gamut. I know it runs all over the world. So you've got those two roles. You have those internal and external customers. And then you've got the politicians, right? The ones that are on the boards, the ones that are elected officials that are supposed to be setting policy and then sometimes decide they want to say in what's purchased to, right? So you run the gambit. You've got a lot of different customers. What I really want you to think about as we go through this today is that there are two keys to customer service. One is really, really hard. Patience. Something that I'm not very good at. You can ask my 6-year-old daughter. I'm not the most patient person, but when it comes to customer service, that's key. What's the other side? Pay attention to new situations. You want to pay attention to what's going on. So we're going to talk about those two areas, but we're going to talk about them through a couple different learning objectives. Today we're going to define customer service, and we're also going to describe how to wow your customers. We're going to go through these two areas as we go through our short time today, because I'm keeping an eye on my clock, and I know that y'all have lunch at noon. So I'm going to get you through here. First, we want to start with a couple scenarios. Does everyone have the handout?
Yes.
It's just a little easy handout that should help you kind of go through the presentation. We've got a few blanks in there, paying attention. And we're going to start out with scenarios. You should have a couple questions, actually 3 questions, one for each scenario in your handout. So we want to start out with the first scenario. But before we do that, I'm going to ask Debbie, would you mind reading the question from the first scenario? It should be on, I'll help you. It should be on this page, scenario 1.
Was this interaction positive and why?
All right, so that's what we're going to be thinking about when we go through this first scenario. Was this interaction positive and why? Scenario 1. So anyway, and I'm really hearing this as so anyway. The shipment was delayed because of all the bad weather. I can see how that might affect your phone production schedule. I'll let my manager know so it doesn't happen again. It sounds all right to begin with. It sounds okay. I'm trying to dampen a situation. But not only was it late, you sent iPhone screens instead of Galaxy screens. Tell me, how was this interaction?
Negative.
Yeah, didn't cut the mustard. It's not good. Would someone read the question for the second scenario for me?
Did this customer service meet or exceed your expectations and why?
All right, let's see. I need to get some information for a new RFP. I know y'all don't deal with those at all. I need to get some information for a new RFP, and the city manager recommended I talk to you. Let's set up a meeting so I can focus on what your project entails. I'm on a tight deadline right now, but I have time tomorrow morning. Does this kind of seem like a situation you can see yourself in? I can meet at 9 a.m. What do you think about this?
If she raised it from the phone, it might be a little bit better interact. But isn't she talking? Isn't she looking at the phone?
She's looking at the phone. Maybe she's checking her calendar to see what time she has available. Maybe not. Well, these days, I'm almost surprised that I'm not up here teaching on Twitter because, that's the way folks talk now. You can't do anything without staring at your phone. I often text my wife from across the den, will you talk to me? Put it on her Facebook wall. I think this is moving in the right direction. If she is checking her calendar, that's great. If she's looking at her email, no, not so much. But at least they're setting a time to talk about it. They're not, the other person's not saying, hold up, I'm busy, I can't do this. Because they're asking for help. Scenario 3. Can I get a volunteer?
Did the customer service meet or exceed your expectations and why?
I really like the way you all have been handling the increased grant management this year. We've had a really good experience overall working with fewer people, but recently there's been more of a backlog and no one is providing a reason why. I haven't heard any of this from my team. I can contact the grant specialist and have someone else call you.
That's negative.
Pass the buck. I don't really like it. What would you prefer? What would you like to hear? I'll take care of it. I'll investigate it. I'll find out what's going on and get back with you. Well, that, if possible, absolutely, but don't overpromise yourself. Because that's where we do anger a lot of people is we are probably in a culture, I know we are at MTAS of saying, yes, we can do this because we want to help everybody, right? Maybe from time to time, we all in our personal and professional lives overpromise. And so maybe it's better we don't say today. Maybe we say we will work on this. Now, if you can give a time frame, awesome. Just make sure if today's the day, don't oversell yourself. I've had those nights where I've woken up thinking, I told so-and-so I was going to get back with them today, and I didn't do it. That's never a good feeling, especially when it's your boss. So, what do you think about when you hear customer service? What's your definition of customer service?
Meeting or exceeding their expectations.
Absolutely. What else?
Results.
Results. I like that. Anybody else? Well, our definition we're going to use today is customer service is a way of interacting with other people to meet their needs. People don't always know what their needs are when they come to you, though. Keep that in the back of your mind. We're going to hit it in a second. But first, let's look at these customer service professionals and how they meet their customers' needs.
Yes, I know how long you've been holding, and I don't care. Why, yes, I'd love to spend the next 10 minutes of my life being told what a horrible person I am by a stranger.
I'll definitely transfer you to my supervisor, who will give you the same information I just gave you.
As soon as you started yelling, I zoned out.
I'm not sorry I placed you on hold for 5 minutes. I was hoping you'd hang out.
Oh, you're never going to use our company again? Great. That means I'll never have to talk to you again.
I'm going to tell you this issue is resolved so that I can go on break.
I'm telling you that I'm finishing up with another customer, but really I'm just catching up on office gossip.
I asked you to repeat that because I was too busy texting on my phone.
I'm going to hang up on you and pretend it was an accident.
I've been attempting to sound empathetic because quality assurance is listening.
The only perk of my job is not seeing your face.
Please stop telling me this pointless story. Just tell me your problem so we can both get on with our day.
I'm saying this with confidence, but I have no idea if this information is true.
I fully intend to look you up on Facebook after this just to see how much of an asshole you are.
I'm not sorry you feel that way.
I'm not sorry that happened.
Oh no, I understand. I just don't care. This job is leaving me dead inside.
This job has given me a fear of talking on the phone.
Listen, babe, call me honey one more time and I'll burn this place down.
Have a great day.
So, you've never experienced that before in your life? Never. Never been on the phone with Verizon, Comcast, right? Comcast? Terrible. Terrible. I was lucky enough to be on the phone with Amazon Returns this weekend. In some country nowhere near you. So, customer service is a way of interacting with other people to meet their needs. Were they meeting their needs? No. Were they making sure that they got through their day? That was pretty much it. I want to take the call to get to break. I want to take the call to get through the next hour. I want to take the call to get my check. I'm not worried about their needs. And that's what we have to focus on. So, before we can meet their needs, though, we really need to know who our customers are. Customers are the people we serve internally and externally, or externally, sometimes it's both, that have asked us for something, a product, or to help them in some way, service. Customers are the people we serve internally or externally that have asked us for something, a product, right? Can you buy me this? Can you make sure that I get this? Can you run the contract for this? Is that kind of the daily in and out? Or help them in some way, a service, which is really what you're providing, the service to get the product. So when we're working with our customers, we need to have a foundation of customer service. What is it that we're really looking at to make sure we provide that adequate customer service? Well, to start out with, you need to understand your customer. How do you think you can understand your customer best? Oh yeah, I heard that. Listening. Ask questions. What else? So, how many people in here work with emergency services? You're having to do procurement. All right, I see several hands. Everybody in here deals with different departments that have alphabet soup, right? I'm part of MTAS, which is part of IPS, which is part of UT, but not part of UTK, which is part of the UT system, right? Alphabet soup, you deal with it. Now, when your customer, your internal customers come forward and say, we need to buy a new fire truck, or we need to buy a new set of equipment for the school cafeteria, and they go through and give you the specifics, do you sometimes want to just have that glazed over look because it's like, I don't get it? I know we've got to do it, but I've got to learn first what you're talking about. That's where those questions come into play. That's where that listening comes into play. It's okay for you to ask them, you know, what does that acronym mean? I don't know. You know, so in some ambulance services, an ambulance is a bus. So you've got EMTs coming to you, they want a bus. You're not going to go look for the yellow bus, right? You've got to understand your customers. You've got to understand the words they're using. Now, with your external customer, well, I guess these are really internal too. But when you deal with your administration and the politicians that are involved, because they are either on your county legislative body or your city legislative body or on the boards that run your different organizations, are they going to understand all the acronyms that are involved with the different services you work with? So you've got to think about that too. By the time you get to talk to them, you're probably pretty down. You understand what's being ordered, you understand what the acronyms are, but they don't. So you're going to have to also educate them as you're going through that communication. That's another way of identifying needs, asking questions. Do you often work with people that come to you for something they really don't understand what they're needing? You have to kind of help pull them to what their needs are? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you may have somebody come to you well, this is the way it is for UT. We'll have someone come in and say, I want to purchase this. It's over $10,000, so we have to go through the RFP process, yada, 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 here it is. And then someone else will be like, no, we've got a contract with so-and-so, and they provide that. We can skip that whole rigmarole, right? So, you know, identifying needs. The need was an outcome, but when they came, they thought the need was an outcome, but when they came to you, they really realized, you know, you helped through the process, you helped eliminate a lot of those needs to get to the actual point. So really ask those questions to get to those needs. What about addressing problems? Do you get any questions that you can't answer? It's okay, be honest. Yeah. What's the best thing to do in those situations?
Be honest.
All right, I've heard several things. What was that?
Be honest.
Be honest.
Don't know right now, but I'll see and find out and learn and get back.
Absolutely. And that's what you said. I'll get back with them. It's okay to say, you know, that's outside of my wheelhouse, but I'm going to get you in contact with the right person. I can't give you the answer, but I bet I can find someone who can. It is okay to punt. Truly, it's okay. Just get them to the person you told them you're going to. That's important. You know, exhaust those avenues. That's addressing their problems. If you can actually answer the actual question they're coming to, and that really is their need, even better. Even better. That's what we want to get to do. So, absolutely.
I would also say follow-up is extremely important in those situations to make sure that their needs are met through the other avenue.
Absolutely. And that's the way it is with us in training. Evaluations are so important. I don't know if y'all do evaluations after these sessions, but for MTAS in MTAS. I know we all have the happy sheets, you know, that get sent around. You fill them out, you bubble them in, and they get turned in. And those are great for that instant, you know, interpretation of how did we do. But those 30 and 90-day follow-ups, you know, if that timeline's appropriate, it may be that a week and 2 weeks is more appropriate in some situations. But those follow-ups, they mean a lot. They mean that you are actually getting the job done, but what does that mean to the person that you're calling and checking up with? It shows them that you care. Have you ever been to the doctor or taken your animal to the vet and you got a follow-up call from the office later on? How good did that make you feel? Comcast isn't going to do that. It's not going to happen. So Cubby's got a great quote here. Seek first to understand. I mean, and really this should be the tenet of customer service, because so much of what you have to think about in customer service really comes from understanding your customer, understanding where they are standing right then at that point in their day. Because think about it, they may have missed the alarm, woken up late, rolled out of bed, stepped on the dog, the kids missed the bus, and they had a flat tire on the way into work, right? So their frustration that's coming out on you may all roll back to them actually forgetting to set the alarm the night before. So how are we going to address this? Well, we're going to wow our customers. Just a simple little acronym. Welcome everyone. Now, you're not at the front door of City Hall or the county courthouse or wherever you are. You're not at the front door, but still you have the opportunity to welcome, offer valuable insight, and watch for cues. Let's talk about these a little bit individually. Wow. Welcome everyone. Customer service is built on relationships. Isn't that what we said? You can't really understand somebody unless you have some sort of relationship. Now, you don't have to get on the phone and learn about mama and grandma and the kids. But, you know, knowing their name helps. How to pronounce someone's name correctly helps. Small things. If they come to see you, you know, looking at them in the eye, putting your phone down, right? It helps. So we want to meet people where they are. That's what I was saying a minute ago. You know, they may have had a bad morning, they may not be having a good day, and it may come out on you. So we have to understand that, and that's hard. I get it. I get how hard that is. But for us to do our jobs the rest of the day the way we want to, we need to do it the proper way then. Because what's going to happen if that whole I woke up late, stepped on the dog, rolls over into your day? How's the rest of your day going to go? It's not going to go well. What about the folks around you? What's going to happen? Yeah, it's not going to be a good day. You're going to leave, go home, want to take a nap, not do anything. So just keep that in mind. Welcome everybody. Welcome. So you aren't working at the front desk. Nobody's coming up to you and saying, you know, I want to buy this. You know, they're not saying, here's a pair of socks, punch it through the machine, you know, I want to buy a burger. No, that's not what you're doing. But you have people calling in, right? Or you may have other city employees or county employees or school district employees coming up to you saying, how do I start this procurement process? Or how do I, or calling you, how do I do this? Or heaven forbid they email you. You know, I'm talking a lot about this talking stuff. How much of this talking stuff do y'all actually get to do? Really? So how do you welcome somebody in an email when you respond?
Good morning.
Right. It doesn't hurt. You know, it's just a couple words. You know, I'm not one to sit there and type out, yada, yada, yada. You know, I don't want all that. Because me, I'm like straight to the point. But I've also been told my straight to the point might get taken as abrupt from time to time. So I do try to throw in a good morning. Please do this. You know, it doesn't hurt. You can really read some stuff into emails. I know I've been guilty of it. My staff knows that whenever I send an email and it's got my short signature on it, that means I'm on my cell phone. And so if it's super short, then they know it's because I'm probably emailing somewhere I shouldn't be. Right? maybe in a conversation with someone else when I shouldn't be. But, you know, still, you can welcome. You can welcome on the phone with a, you know, how are you doing? Good to hear from you. You can do things like that. When someone comes up to see you, simply looking up, smiling, and putting your phone down will do a huge, that'll help you go a long way in keeping that relationship. Offer valuable insight. Do you have something important to say? Well, yeah, otherwise they wouldn't be coming to see you. Sometimes what's valuable that you have to say is no. They don't like to hear that. But how are you going to offer your valuable insight? What are you going to do first? You're going to listen. You're going to listen to what they have to say. Now, and I'm probably driving the folks online crazy because I keep moving up, so I'm sorry about that. But you listen. Now in today's society, do you ever really get to have a complete statement, a conversation, or is someone always interrupting the other person or finishing sentences? I don't hardly ever have a conversation where we're both not trying to finish the other person's thought. Stop. Stop it. Silence is okay. It's okay to think about something. Let the other person finish their statement. Don't be sitting there trying to come up with a response. Because guess what? If you listen to their full statement or full question, you might be wrong. Your initial thoughts may be completely wrong. It really helps. Then you're not having to dig yourself out of a hole. Then you can offer that valuable insight because you now have a better understanding of what they need. Right? And if you don't, what do you do after you listen?
Ask questions.
Ask questions. Y'all, there's a little repetition in here, but that's on purpose. We want you to remember, listen, ask questions. Be mindful. Oh, sorry, y'all. I forgot. Listen, learn, that's that identifying issues. And then to look for solutions. If it's in your area to help them, help them. Give them that timeline that you can achieve it in. And then do what you said. Follow up. If you can't help them, find somebody who can. You know, it's very rare that you won't be able to at least point them in the right direction. You know, you may not know the right person in the other agency, but you can find someone at that agency that can help, right? I get calls all the time from the other agencies in the Institute for Public Service. I know that training doesn't handle this for MTAS, but who can you put me in contact with so I can get some contained space training for someone else? You know, like manholes and stuff. And I know it's somebody at our sister agency, CIS, Center for Industrial Services. I don't remember who it is, but I get in contact with my buddy over there and we put it all together, right? That's what you want to do because your customers are going to appreciate that. That's what you're there to do, is help them get to the right answer. And you know what else it's going to help you do? It's going to help you build that relationship so when they come by next time and they have the need that you actually can help them with, you're starting out on great footing because you built that relationship. So, lastly, we've got the last W. Watch for cues. What do I mean by watch for cues? Absolutely. How much of communication is the actual words, or are the actual words?
5%.
Who said 5? 7%. I'm sure there's a study that says 5. I'm sure there's a study that says 11, but the one that we use, 7%. The other 93% are based off of body language and the tone and inflection in your voice. What's the inflection and body language of an email or text? So maybe you should make sure you say what you really mean to say when you type it. And that's hard because in your mind you do. You know, it reads exactly the way you want it to read. So it's hard to step back a minute and really think about how the other person's going to read it. For 99% of your emails, that's probably going to be okay. But you know those tough emails? That's really when you really got to sit back and think about it. What is this person going to read into this? There are some folks that are going to read into every email. You can't help them. Let's move on. But we do need to worry about when we have those verbal communications, those in-person communications. They're reading you. They're reading your inflection in your voice, and they're reading your body language. Let's take a little look. Well, I want to take a little look. Here we go. I look for this all the time now. Does the smile make it to the eyes? You can tell a lot. I got to stop on that one real quick. Eyebrows. My wife had Botox. She killed me for telling this. I hope she's not watching. Your forehead. All right? What does Botox do to your forehead? Keeps a straight face. I've got a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. A 6-year-old did something she shouldn't have. I don't remember what it was. She's mouthy. And so I'm sure that she smarted off. Well, let's just say that Murphy Bryant was punished. And she said, Mama, I didn't know you were mad at me. She doesn't say yours. I didn't know you were mad at me. So I said, well, I told you that you shouldn't do or say whatever you did. Don't do it again. He said, yeah, but Mama, your face didn't make those lines. And I know that until your face makes those lines, you're not serious. So, facial expressions, those cues, even 6-year-olds pick up on them, right? When you walk up and talk to somebody who's like this, what's this cue?
Back off.
Back off, standoffish. Or me just resting my arms on my belly sometimes, but yeah, you know.
Sometimes you're just cold.
Well, that's true. That may be for everyone else in here. I'm always hot. I'm always the opposite. What does it mean when your arms are out? You're invited, right? You're listening. Eye contact. Confidence, communication, engaged. Interested. What's something else that it shows?
Listen.
You're listening? Really? Now, up in the, at least from I'm sorry, vendors, I may not have done this with you all, but from everybody else, is there anybody in the room that I haven't made eye contact with? You know, besides y'all in the back, I'm sorry, we've talked. You know, I've tried really hard to go around the room and make eye contact with everyone, you know, and continually do that. I think that's important. It's important that you look at people, you talk to them, you make that eye contact, and you have, you know, that's some sort of small relationship right there. It makes a difference. You know, I feel more engaged looking at everybody and, you know, making that eye contact. It's never fun to sit in a group and speak on and go through, and this is what's next on the list, looking at the back wall and know that there's nobody in here with you. No. It's the same way when you're working with your customers. When you're in a meeting, make eye contact. It goes miles. Now, we have 15 minutes left, and I kind of sped through, and I apologize, and I may have pressed a little too fast on the accelerator. So I may actually get done a little early because I did press fast on the accelerator and speed through some of this. I don't think you'll kill me too much because I know that I am in front of lunch. So, but we do have a little bit left, and we won't take the whole 15 minutes if you're getting hungry. But I do want to talk a few minutes about handling difficult customers. Do you have any of those? We are being recorded, so you may not want to mention names. Especially since you probably work with those customers. They're not external. We all have them. We all have to learn how to deal with them, how to work with them. Do you have to like everybody you work with? Should you at least try your best to act like it while you're there? When you get home, if you want to talk to your friend, your spouse, or your kids about it, go ahead. Don't do it on social media, please. But for real, at work, have that professional attitude. Do as best you can. And if they don't, it's on them, not on you. So I've got a little video on customer or a difficult customer here, and I swear I represented her back when I was doing public defender work years ago. I swear I did. But watch this difficult customer. You've probably seen her. You've probably seen her in a store. Well, we're gonna try.
Who are you?
I'm one of the managers.
Where's your boss?
He's
Robert Washington.
Where's he? He's not here right now.
When will he be here?
I'm not, I don't know, I just.
Does he work here?
Yes, I just got here myself.
Okay, when did he come in here?
Let me talk.
I don't want to talk to you. You don't know how to do a job at all.
Excuse me.
I want to talk to you.
He's not here.
We just spent $1,200, okay, on there. I want to talk to somebody who knows how to run a store.
If you will explain to me what's the
I
problem.
don't want to talk to you. That's what.
I stopped the video there because it goes downhill. And if you heard the one beep in the video earlier, that took me like an hour to figure out how to put it in. So I just had to cut this video. It would have been way too hard. Do you want to deal with that customer?
No.
Do you have to?
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately. Do you have that type of customer? Sometimes? Yeah. Do you think that the issue really started at the store?
No.
I mean, it could have, but most likely something's just going wrong in her day. What do you usually see when you see these customers that are having these difficult outbursts, temper tantrums, 2-year-old fits?
They can't tell you really what the problem is.
No, and that's hard because guess what? Part of what we've been talking about is identifying needs. And it's hard to identify those needs when they really don't know. They don't know what's got them so chapped. They just know they're mad.
They've been talking to Comcast.
Oh, they've been talking to Comcast. Oh, yes. Well, if that's what you can.
Give them a moment to think about it once they get through screaming at you.
Absolutely.
Because one, I got to calm down after you scream at me.
Yes. Well, and you know, if you're getting this bit by email, how's it going to come across? What's it going to look like? All caps. But keep in mind, my mom is going to email you in all caps too.
I was just going to say, you have to watch the generation.
Absolutely.
You didn't know who you're dealing with.
Absolutely. It just depends. Or me when I get my cap lock stuck and just don't think about it. Things happen. Well, these difficult customers have a various set of traits. Pretty much follow through from difficulty to difficulty. We've got our know-it-all. Y'all deal with a lot of those. I'm sure I shouldn't say that I know it because that really doesn't work here, but you know. Impossible to please. There are those people that no matter what you do, how far you bend over backwards to help them out, no matter when you get them to the right person today, it's still not going to make them happy. You should have read their mind done it yesterday. The complainer, the person that's never happy with anything, including the raise they got because it should have been more. Vague. Ha. This is what I thought about when I thought about you all. Vague. Now, my guess is in your work, you require a lot of detail, right? Because who's looking at your paperwork or could be looking at your paperwork at some point? Auditors. And who's worse than auditors? Quiet because they're store at the media. You don't want that in the news. I see so many of our public officials on the front pages of paper from time to time. We don't want that. So when we get these vague requests coming in and you've got to kind of drill down and find out what they're really asking, every once in a blue moon it's a red flag too. You got to be thinking about that. What else? Ooh. Impatient. Often goes along with complainer and impossible to please. And why are we so much more impatient today than we probably were 10, 15 years ago? Technology. Instant gratification. All right. Be honest, when you get out of here, how many of you are going to pull up your phone and check your Facebook feed? or Pinterest or Instagram or Twitter. I'm going to check Twitter. I'm going to see how bad Nashville traffic's going to be.
It's horrible.
That's gonna be bad.
Well, I'm headed home as soon as I get done, and with the draft, y'all, it's going to be something. What else? Uninformed. You get people sent to you to make requests on behalf of someone else. So their director has gotten someone in their department to come to you to purchase, you know, the new soap dispensers, the new fire truck, whatever it may be. And do they really know, can they really read the mind of who sent them? Do they have a bullet pointed list from their boss? No. If you got that, just, yes, that's great. But you're not. Maybe once in a blue moon. You're not going to get that. That uninformed is hard. That's where the listening, the questions come in handy, and where you need to get them to go back and ask more questions of their supervisor. Very important. Now, these folks, these complainers, what do they really want to do?
Rile you up.
They want to rile you up, pass the buck. This is what they want to do. They want to get it off their chest. They want to vent. Whoops. Well, you know, it's just not liking my videos today. Here we go.
It's vital to let an angry customer vent their feelings while you give them your full attention. You may feel compelled to interrupt as they recount what's transpired, but don't. Let them continue. In person, make eye contact, be alert, and show empathy, nodding from time to time, even if the customer is irrational. Over the phone, make the occasional indication that you're listening and empathizing, even just a sympathetic "oh" sound. If you want to raise an issue, leave it until they've finished, perhaps making notes as they speak. Let your customer vent all of their anger in one burst, after which you can focus on the solution. And when they have finished speaking or shouting, leave a second or two of silence and make your initial response an empathetic one. And I'm totally sick of it. Mr. Jameson, I hear exactly what you are saying. Allowing the customer to get it all out of their system reinforces the fact you have listened intently and almost certainly will have a full understanding of the complaint.
All right, let them vent. Don't interrupt. We're listening. We're showing the signs of listening. We are letting them get it out of their system, or at least get part of it out. You know, a lot of times, though, that initial vent is enough. Let them go through, listen, you know, take your notes. One important thing is never apologize. Now, if you did something, absolutely. Yeah, there's a time and a place for an apology. But if you're apologizing just to pacify them, don't do that. If you or your department did something, sure, that's appropriate. But if you're just saying, I'm sorry, to get them to shut up, no. Do empathize. I hear where you're coming from. I see what you're saying. And then you're going to have to figure out what the real issue is, because more than likely what they're coming to you complaining about is not really something that you can deal with. It's something totally different, and you have to ask those questions to get to their needs that you can actually resolve. So really, when it comes back down to it, with our angry, adamant, difficult customers, it comes down to the same thing we've talked about this entire time. Listening, being respectful. It's just a lot harder in those situations. A lot harder. So today I want to leave you with this. I think this really sums it up. Show respect to people who don't even deserve it. Not as a reflection of their character, but as a reflection of yours. Show respect to people who don't even deserve it. Not as a reflection of their character, but as a reflection of yours. And with that, I want to thank you. Thank you all for your time and attention. Y'all have been a great group. I'm getting you out of here 5 minutes early. I would ask for questions, but someone may kill me. I will stand around. I will be up here. If you have questions, feel free to ask me. But I'm not going to be that person that keeps you over for lunch. So, y'all are great. I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference, and I hope you have safe travels back tomorrow to wherever you're from. Have a great one.